Coming up on Trans World Sport, we go toe-to-toe with New York boxing star Alicia Napoleon.
We're in Rwanda to try our hand at the traditional game of Igisoro.
We saddle up with Swedish show-jumping maestro Peder Fredricson.
And with Tokyo 2020 firmly in his sights, we hang out with surfing king Filipe Toledo.
I love sports. I love sports growing up. My dream was to be a professional baseball player. My papi told me that I couldn't be a professional baseball player because I was a girl. I didn't understand at 5 years old, why didn't I have equal opportunity? Because I was a girl?
28 years after being told she couldn't be a professional athlete, Alicia Napoleon is now the WBA super middleweight world champion. Trans World Sport met up with her at the world-famous Gleason's Gym in New York to find out how she refused to take no for an answer and reached the summit of women's boxing.
The pathway to becoming a professional fighter probably started at 5 years old, just that natural fight instinct. I was just born with a fight in me. I loved aggression. I loved the battle. I loved debating. I loved being physical and winning. I just always had that in my blood. And, you know, being told at a young age I couldn't do things stuck with me, struck a nerve in me. It turned the switch on for me to say I'm a fighter in anything and everything that I do. And I've always had an attraction towards physical sports where it was one-on-one combat. I always liked it, but it wasn't popular, especially for little girls. Like, who wants to put their little girl in the boxing ring? Today it's a little different, but, you know, back then and years before me, it was like, oh my God, no, absolutely not. I don't want my little girl doing that. But I always saw myself as a warrior, as a champion, as a soldier, as someone regal to reign, and to do the right thing, to stand up for the right thing. So my path started standing up for the equality for women.
Alicia's dedication paid off when she became world champion in 2018. Despite being at the top of the game, the hard work has only just begun.
It's not just hard to become world champion, but it's hard to keep it. Because the competition, it elevates. The fights get harder. The demand gets harder. The pressure, there's more pressure on you. There's more of a following. There's more people that expect things from you. You want to please everybody. You don't have to please everybody, but you want to. A champion wants to make the world happy, the fans happy, to give the crowd what they want. So it's a lot of dedication. It's a lot of mental, physical, and spiritual strength that I need to endure to stay champion and to gain these belts and to be undisputed and to climb to the top. It's a lot of pressure, but I'm built for it. I love it. I endure it one day at a time.
With 2 successful title defenses already to her name, the New York native is preparing to put her WBA super middleweight belt on the line against the undefeated Shamel Baldwin this coming weekend.
Title fight, we like, you know, at least a month or 2 for preparation. And I'll ease my way into it, and it'll go like this. So we'll ease our way into camp, we'll go up, we'll come back down slowly, rest, and be prepared for fight night. So, you know, peak of my training is 3 times a week, strength and conditioning training, 6 days a week, my road work, my running, 6 days a week, my boxing. So I'm training up to 2 to 3 times a day. Week prior to the fight, it slows down. I'm training maybe once a day, and it's really light and it's no contact. But we try to get as many rounds of sparring in. We try to get as much as we can on the bag, on the pads, on the slip bag, on the double end bag, on the ropes, in the ring work, shadow boxing, jump rope. That's all our boxing work. You know, watching fights, studying fights, not just my opponent, but any fighter that I can get my hands on to. Boxing it's very visual, it's very spiritual, and it's more than just training in the gym. It's the whole world around you.
When she steps into the ring, Alyssia is not only fighting for world titles, but for recognition for women's sport in the battle to end gender disparity.
It's extremely important for, for the world to know we exist, for equality, for women to have the opportunity to be showcased in this sport, because, I don't only have female fans, I have men that look up to me. I have children that look up to me. I have women that look up to me. Because at the end of the day, it's not our gender, it's not female or male, it's athlete. I'm an athlete. I have a lot to offer. And just my fight and my journey leading up to these moments in my life are inspirational. Whether I win or not, I'm a champion. I'm God's champion. And I'm a light to this world because I don't quit and I'm faithful. And I had a dream and I aspire to reach my dream. And that alone is important for the world to see and hear, because we all have a dream. Everybody has something to aspire to in life. So who motivates you? Who gets you to that next level? Who tells you, and who speaks life into you that you can keep going and do what you want to do in your path? So it's really important for other women to show the world that they too are heroes. We're heroes to people because we don't quit. And I'm not alone. There's plenty of women like me in this sport and in other sports. Look at the soccer players. Look at the female soccer players. They won 4 times, and they still don't get paid like the guys. It's ridiculous. Women all over the place, we're fighting for that equality. We don't want to take nothing away from the men. We love the men, but we want to share the stage with you. Make room for us.
Now it's time for our sporting question. This week sees the 49th edition of Rowing's World Championships, which will take place in Ottensheim, Austria. The event will feature one of the greats of the sport, Mahe Drysdale. The 40-year-old took a break from rowing in 2017 in the hope that he could return to target a 5th Olympics in 2020. This event will determine the majority of qualifiers for Tokyo, and New Zealand have added Drysdale alongside fellow Kiwi legend Hamish Bond to form a strong men's 8 for the World Championships. Drysdale will be looking for his 9th medal at the Worlds, 4 shy of the men's record of 13 held by Daniele Gilardoni. For this week's question, we'd like you to name the female rower who has won the most medals at the event. We'll bring you the answer later in the show.
"15 miles west of the Scottish mainland is the Isle of Arran. In July, the Grindr O Tour made its way to the island for the first of 4 events in 2019. The Grindr O is a bike race with a difference.
Grindr O is the ultimate party-to-race ratio. So many bicycle races are a type of event where everybody's very focused on their performance. There's a lot of nerves. You bring out the competitive side of people's personality, and that's all well and fine. But you can do that most any weekend, most any place. Grindr O is really a little bit of a different type of event. We want to get people out, away from home, away from the normal day-to-day, take them to new places, put them in an environment where they can relax a bit, have a good time, make some new friends, ride at a new place, and ultimately come home with a little bit of a tale of an adventure. The greatest thing about being on Arran is it's a bit remote, but it's also Scotland in miniature. So we get all the elements of the natural terrain here in one place, which is perfect for Grindr O. Because Grindr O is really a race designed around the enduro format. And what that means is that you race only in short stages of the overall loop. So today's ride is 80 kilometers, but the racing is less than 20, I think, total. And it's a mix, so you want an all-around rider. A little bit of pavement, a little bit of single track, some double track or forest road, climbs, descents, flats, and it's a chance for every type of rider to come out and give their best and get their best. basically self-contained. We take care of everything that we can. So there's caterers providing breakfast for everybody this morning. Rafa's here making fresh coffees. We will have a pop-up barbershop, so riders will have a chance to get a fresh haircut. We have a beach party before the finish. The Tour de France will be on because that's always happening here. Riders finish, and then again, catered supper, the pop-up barbershop. There'll be live music later from one of Glasgow's hottest bands, and the party goes on into the wee hours. The concept actually was hatched by a gentleman named Joe Parkin. Joe was a professional American cyclist who raced in Europe for a number of years, lived in Belgium, raced the classics and some of the smaller European tours. Joe had this idea that you could combine enduro with this sort of mixed terrain thing. We've known Joe for a long time, and we loved the idea that he had, and we came together with a few folks and created Grindr O. The first one was 4 years ago. And we're very excited because the concept of Grindr O is growing. So we'll have 4 events this year. The first one being here on Erin. Next month we'll be in Canada, up north of Quebec City. And then we return to California, and the finale this year will be in Japan.
This year's event was a huge success and received plaudits from those who took part.
It's absolutely fantastic. The riding's great fun. The course is testing, but it's a laugh. Everybody's in for a good time.
It's in a glorious part of Scotland. I absolutely love Arran. Why not?
All the people and everything have been really nice. Like from everybody on the islands, everybody that's come for it, all the organisers, everybody's been really fun.
I think it's nice because it kind of attracts all kinds of bikes and all kinds of riders, so it's just you get a bit more of a mixed atmosphere than just like road events. I think it's really fun to like check out what everybody's brought.
The event likes this kind of location because it's kind of almost remote. It's not, because it's like half hour from Glasgow and I'm on a ferry, but it feels like you're going to like another world and getting away from it a little bit. No phone signal, so yeah, you kind of escape.
Well, actually, I live on the island. This is the second year I've competed. I've just really enjoyed it, and it's a great event for the island. So it's great to be taking part in it.
This feels more like a party, to be honest. But it does also feel like people are passionate. They've got an internal passion for what they're doing, rather than it being about one big en masse race. It's more like everyone's just trying to do their best but have fun.
Our top 5 this week looks at marathons around the world. First up is the Antarctic Ice Marathon, which takes place in the coldest, windiest and driest place on Earth. And once a year it provides the location for one of the world's most extreme tests of endurance. It takes place at Union Glacier, 600 miles from the South Pole, and the latest edition of the race featured athletes from 18 countries. Set up by Mohamed Hansel, a 5-time winner of the prestigious Marathon des Sables, the Trans-Atlas Marathon's daily running distances average over 40 kilometres, and there's little in the way of flat terrain. Constant temperatures in excess of 30 degrees Celsius heighten the physical challenge. Once a year, one of the most remote locations on the planet stages the North Pole Marathon. The race takes place approximately 49 kilometres from the northernmost point on Earth, and to combat the extreme cold, the runners are covered from head to toe in specialist polar gear. The Atacama Desert in Chile is one of the driest places in the world, and for the 4th consecutive year, this region stages an endurance race which is widely regarded as one of the toughest around, the Volcano Marathon. Dubbed the closest thing to the planet Mars on Earth, the Volcano Marathon is the ultimate test of man against the elements. The World Marathon Challenge is a race for only the most ardent of runners. The event takes in 7 marathons in 7 days across 7 continents. In order to keep up with the grueling schedule, every competitor must complete each marathon in less than 8 hours, before getting a flight to make the start line for the next marathon. This year's event included marathons in Antarctica, Cape Town, Perth, Dubai, Madrid and Santiago.
At the 2017 FEI European Championship, Swedish show jumping legend Peder Fredricson, riding H&M All-In, triumphed in the individual event in front of a home crowd in Gothenburg. After 4 impeccable clears, the pairing had just 5 faults in hand going into the final round.
Watch the clock. He has won individual gold here in Gothenburg.
What a moment, Phil, and I mean everybody in the stadium is standing and clapping, and so deservedly.
Peder was looking to defend his title at the weekend in Rotterdam, and we caught up with the gold medalist to reflect on that magical moment 2 years ago.
Of course I have great memories. Riding the European Championship on home ground and then winning it, was fantastic. And in the end, when I could give the home crowd the victory, it was a great feeling. He made the show very special for me and everybody else. Well, of course, I was riding H&M All-In. I know he's a really good horse, and when you go to championship with a good horse, you want to make sure you don't make any mistakes yourself. I was last to go in the team, which is always an advantage in this championship, because the first day is a speed class. And then you know a little bit how quick you have to go to be, you know, in the first 5. I didn't have as a goal to go out and be #1 the first day, but I'd like to make sure I was quick enough to be in the top. After that, you just have to try to make sure you don't have any fences down.
The Swedish maestro did just that and came into the final day with an advantage over the rest of the field.
Yeah, I know I had like a fence and time fault in hand. And that was just what I had in the end, and people said, you know, that was great, you know what you could do and so on, but it doesn't work like that, because, you know, when you go in, the only thing you want to do is to go a clear round. And I was just really, really lucky that I just had the five faults and I won anyway. He's just an amazing horse. He's really careful. He has a body that allows him to stretch forward on a wide oxer, and he can also jump, you know, really upwards in the verticals. He's fast and brave. He's everything you want in a horse.
The pairing's outstanding performance also helped their Swedish compatriots to a podium finish in the team event.
What amazing show jumping this is!
Sweden clinch the silver medal. Switzerland get bronze.
Taking the silver medal was also a top result for newly appointed chef de keep Henrik Anker-Krona.
The Europeans in 17 was for me the first championship as a chef de keep, and of course to beat that with the gold medal with Peder individual and then the team second. It was just a roller coaster for me. I didn't really know what to expect, to be honest, when I got there, but I put a lot of faith in my riders. They've done it a lot of times before. We managed to stick through, and obviously there's one spot left for the team to fill, maybe for Rotterdam this year. We'll see.
Sweden failed to impress in Rotterdam at the weekend, with Peder, their anchorman, unable to defend his title as he finished 7th. The gold medal was won by Martin Fuchs of Switzerland.
Scott Jamie Murray is one of the world's top doubles players. For the next few weeks on Transworld Sport, he's presenting some training tips to help improve your game.
Okay, in this clip we're going to talk to you about the role of server's partner. It's a really important role when trying to hold serve. My goal when server's partner is to touch as many balls off the return as possible. So I'm going to show you the basic starting position and then where I move to on the court depending on the serve of my partner. Okay, so basic starting position for a server's partner is to have your outside foot in the very center of the box like this, where the target is. If my partner is going to serve wide, I'm going to move to the green cone. And if my partner is going to serve down the tee or into the body, I'm going to move to the yellow cone. The first sort of logic we have as service partner is to not get beat down the line. So the reason that I moved to the green cone here is, as you can see with the rope, I can now lean and cover all this territory here. Now, if I move to the yellow cone for a tee or a body serve, you can see I can reach here and I've covered all that territory for a down the line return.
Good, Jay.
Okay, so we've talked about positioning, where to move to after the serve. We've talked about how we cover the down the line return depending on what serve is coming. But also a big question is, what territory do I have to cover, especially in regards to the other way? So, for example, if the ball is served wide, I'm going to come here. If I pivot, judging for a fast return, I'm going to come here. You can see the rope covers and goes across the green cone. And now if I do the movement for a tee serve, I'm going to come to the yellow cone. I'm going to do another pivot to come here. And you can see that the yellow cone is on the exact same spot as the green cone. And that's how this all ties together in terms of the positioning and the movement for the territory that the server's partner has to cover on the court. So the nice thing about having the marker is if your partner feeds the ball and you don't touch the ball, you can turn around and look, and if the ball was inside the marker, then it was your ball, you should have been able to take it. And if it was wide of the marker, then it's your partner's ball. Okay, so obviously as server's partner, my goal is to touch as many balls as I can off the return, but obviously that doesn't happen all the time. So the question is, what do I do once the ball goes back to my partner? So I've moved forward, and now it's about recovering to a more neutral position as the point continues. So I'm going to move back sort of diagonally, and I'm coming here. If my partner James volleys down the line, I can hold my ground here, but if he volleys back cross court to the returner, I can shift across here to a more neutral position, and then we're ready to play the point. All right, so in summing up, server's partner, you move forward to the correct position, you try to touch as many balls as you can, and if you don't, you recover back and you continue playing the point.
Perfect.
In September, the best female golfers from Europe and the USA will be arriving at Glen Eagles for the 16th staging of the Solheim Cup. The late Patty Berg was a pioneer of the US women's circuit, and her legacy as one of the 13 LPGA co-founders and first president has inspired so many budding golfers' lives both on and off the course.
You know, I never can really get started until I tell a little story. They're old, but so am I. Anyway, my favorite story is about this fellow that hit a drive. He hit it about 250 yards down the middle, but it took a bounce and went into a bunker. And the second shot out of the bunker hit a tree, ricocheted, came back and hit him in the head and killed him. And when he got to heaven, St. Pete said, "How'd you get here?" He said, "In two."
I found out about Patty in my rookie year. Patty was still doing her world-famous clinics at the time, so it was always great to go and just watch because she was such an entertainer. You know, she got everyone in the crowd involved in her clinics, and it just, you know, the jokes she told. I mean, we could be on the range practicing when she would be doing it, and, you know, she told the same jokes, but they were just so funny all the time, and she was a good impersonator too. So, you know, she was just a lot of fun.
I'm very thankful for all the pioneers and all the founders that have founded the LPGA and giving us this opportunity to play and giving us this stage. And we've come such a long ways, having purse be over $3 million, have over $8 million tournaments. The prize money, the magnitude of the golf courses that we play, all of that, it wouldn't have happened if it weren't for the founders. So I'm very thankful for that.
We have a little saying, act like a founder, back at the LPGA, and act like a founder means, of course, we're playing golf, and of course, we're proud of the LPGA, but you have a responsibility to leave this game better than you found it. And we've got to make sure that we're leaving a mark, and that young 8, 9, 10-year-olds are looking up at us and starting to dream bigger, just like these young players were probably at that stage one time in their life.
In my early years playing golf, my father took me to Lester Bolsted's practice team. I was also privileged to grow up on a wonderful golf course, Interlochen Country Club in Minneapolis, Minnesota, which helped me develop my game.
She was a lifelong member of Interlochen. She was taught by the club professional here, Willie Kidd, back when she was just beginning the game, and that connectivity, couldn't be more prideful and more felt throughout our entire membership and the club here.
With the golf game she cultivated at Interlaken, Patty would go on to win 60 LPGA events, including a record 15 majors, which still stands today. As the original president of the LPGA, she dedicated herself to promoting the tour across the United States through exhibitions and her legendary golf clinics.
She hit the ball a long ways for that period of time with the equipment they were using. And she was so loyal, I'm sure you've heard this story, to the Wilson Golf Company. Probably more loyal than any individual's ever been. She was always very excited to come back to Interlaken, but we spent a lot of time together, as we always did when she visited the club when I was the pro. Over those 15 years, it was always one of my most exciting moments of the summer to have Patty here. She's very special. I do remember one interesting story. One of the maintenance crew people came up to Patty with a golf ball and said, "Would you autograph this for me?" And Patty looked at it, and it was a make other than a Wilson ball. And she said, "Young man, if you come back with a Wilson ball, I'll autograph it for you."
For yesterday is already a dream, and tomorrow is only a vision. But today, well lived, makes every yesterday a dream of happiness, and every tomorrow a vision of hope.
Kigali, the capital city of Rwanda, is home to one of the busiest and most vibrant areas, near Bugogo. A large bus terminal is located here, as well as a market offering a rich selection of fresh produce. Within a stone's throw from the market's hustle and bustle, a group of locals are engaged in a traditional board game, and the competition is fierce.
I have the trophy. There's no way he'll beat me.
The game in question is Igizoro, which is played throughout Rwanda, and variations of this game are played in neighbouring countries in East Africa. Although primarily a social pastime, there are Igizoro clubs all over the country, and national competitions are staged regularly. And there's no doubt that this game stirs up quite a lot of passion in Rwanda. Igizoro is a two-player game, suitable for any age.
I work closely with the Federation of Traditional Sports in Rwanda. My role is to coordinate teams from various parts of the country and to help them enter competitions.
A successful Igizoro player must have good concentration skills. The rules are intricate, but in essence the winner is the person who manages to capture all the seeds from their opponent.
Each board has 64 seeds, and these aren't heavy seeds. There are 32 pits, containing 4 seeds in each. To start a game, there are 2 moves, which require focus. Gochumuvino is the name for the opening move, and Kuivenura is the name for the second move, when stones can be captured. As soon as your opponent has made their second move, that's when you can start to capture the seeds. It's all about strategic planning and positioning of your seeds in these first 2 moves. The challenge is finding a way out of the traps set by your opponent.
According to locals, the game was traditionally played by the former kings of Rwanda, and that's why many people here hope to pass this game on to future generations. Martin Hitimana has been playing Igisoro for over 50 years.
Igisoro dates back to when the king wanted to spend time with his people. He would invite people just like we are here now, and they would play Igisoro. He would give the winners a cow or land, and they would take these prizes. So it's an old tradition for all Rwandans. It was the king's favourite game. If I'm not playing Igisoro, I'd just be at home sleeping. As you can see, I'm an old man. I don't work and don't have much else to do, so Igisoro gives me a purpose every day. I wake up just to come and play. I can't manage to do anything else anymore, so it makes me feel happy being here, laughing with these young men who I call my friends.
A tournament called the Haji Cup is played in Rwanda to determine the best player. The current champion is Sylvain Witonzi.
Firstly, the special thing about Igisoro is that it isn't taught in schools. And that's the most unique thing. It also requires you to socialise with older people, to learn the game from them. It's fun playing it, and as I said, it's a very unique game.
Igisoro is so popular here in Kigali, even the rain won't stop players coming out in large numbers to compete.
This game is cherished by the people, and it's great for your morale. You can come here and forget about your problems for an afternoon.
Igisoro will forever be entrenched in Rwandan culture. As long as you can meet new people and enjoy yourself, this traditional African board game will never be forgotten.
Now for the answer to our sporting question. Earlier in the show, we asked you to name the female rower who has won the most medals at the World Championships. The answer is Katrine Boron. The German sculler won 13 medals at the event during an illustrious career that spanned 2 decades. Boron won her first medal representing East Germany in 1989, and her final medal came in front of a home crowd in Munich in 2007. 8 of those 13 medals were gold, the remaining 5 silver. At the Olympics, Boron won 4 consecutive gold medals from 1992 to 2004, before finishing her career with a bronze medal in 2008.
The FIVB Volleyball Women's Nations League reached its conclusion in Nanjing, China. Turkey, Brazil, the host nation, and tournament favourites Team USA contested the semi-finals, with Poland and Italy missing out.
And it's the ace to finish the big final on the 2019 VNL will be between Team USA up against Brazil.
Ahead of that final, we caught up with USA star player Andrea Drews to hear about the team's preparations and game strategy.
It's been 7 weeks in the making at this point, just getting prepared, and every week having a slightly different roster and different locations, different jet lag or setbacks, but overall I've been really proud of us as a group, and the way we've taken each week as a challenge and kind of learned from the week prior and learned as the week progresses, and I'm proud of where we're at and I'm excited going into this week. In a way, it feels like a different tournament just because our approach has been different. We've played so many more people this year. I think in a lot of ways we're really grateful for the depth that we have. We have people coming and joining us every week and making contributions every week, whereas last year we went with the same lineup and toward the end even solidified that lineup and had a pretty consistent starting six. So I would say in a sense it feels different because we have so many moving parts this year. A big focus this whole tournament has been just no expectations or no assumptions. Yes, it'd be awesome to win again. We wouldn't have come this far to fall short of that, but at the same time, we don't want to rob ourselves of that joy, of that feeling if we're lucky enough, fortunate enough to get to a final match, because we feel this pressure to win because we've done it before. We know we're capable and our hopes are high, but I think we're really just focused on keeping expectations low and playing really good volleyball. And I think our setters have done a good job of hitting the ground running whenever they do join us, whether that be in Lincoln, whether that be in China. Carlini, for example, she's someone who I've hit off of a lot before, but the first time I ever hit off of her this year was in China, week 4. So it's a blessing to have that much depth. We have had 4 setters who have run our offense well. We run a very fast offensive system, so just keeping that feedback loop really strong and just communicating what we need and what we feel and what we see has been crucial up to this point.
Team USA faced stiff competition against an impressive Brazil.
Chackley stuck on the floor by Mara and Gabby. Good pass. Oh, easily read, and Anna Beatrice makes it 2 in a row. Oh my goodness. Whoa. And Lorraine has just unleashed an absolute thunderbolt. Brazil then trying to win it. And they win it through Gabby. But importantly, Nicole, they've done it in the key phase of each set. Good work. USA, 1 match point left. Not a great pass from Courtney. It goes wide to Robinson. She's dug. Brilliant work by Lorraine. And Gabby comes back hard. USA still in the rally, but the buzzer's gone. We've got a mid-rally challenge. And look at this from Carol's arm onto the antenna. And the USA are the VNL champions for the 2nd time in a row. What a game, what a comeback. And what a spectacle.
Drew scored 33 points and was named the MVP as the USA collected their gold medals and a winner's check for $1 million.
Filipe Toledo is one of the planet's leading surfers. His pure speed and electrifying aerials have been shaking up surfing's championship tour for the last 6 years. We travelled to the United States to meet the 24-year-old Brazilian. Filipe hails from the coastal city of Ubatuba in southern Brazil. He caught his first wave at just 10 months old and was surfing on a regular basis by the time he was 4. Felipe's father Ricardo was also a professional surfer and a 3-time Brazilian champion. He went on to become a surfing instructor and helped guide his son through board riding's ranks. These days, Ricardo travels with Filipe on the World Surf League's Championship Tour.
He's still very influential in my life today. He's always related his own experiences as a professional surfer and shown me how to handle things both in and out of the water. Things like the competitions, the pressure and the commitment. Having him with me gives me an edge over my competitors. So it's great that he's around as a dad and a coach to pass on his knowledge and experience.
From the moment he started surfing, I realised that he could read waves very well, and that he really enjoyed learning more and more about the whole process. He'd study other surfers, his brother, friends, and the older guys out there, and he always wanted to be like them and try to do what they were doing, even though he was still very young.
In 2014, the Toledos moved from Brazil to the USA to help boost Felipe's career and give their other children greater opportunities. The quintessential California surf town, San Clemente, is located midway between Los Angeles and San Diego. In addition to being a premier board riding destination, San Clemente also boasts a large number of surfboard manufacturers and is recognized as the media capital of the surfing world.
When we arrived here, it was a real culture shock for my family. I was already used to being in the USA and spending time away from home, but they had to learn English, a new language for them, and adapt to a new culture and the whole American way of life. It was very different from the life in Brazil that they'd been used to.
The family, including Felipe's wife Ananda, has settled in well, but there's still the occasional domestic hiccup.
Whoa! Que foi isso?
Whoa, excuse me.
Toledo made a major breakthrough amidst surfing's senior ranks while still a teenager. The US Open of surfing is the richest event in the sport. It takes place at Huntington Beach, a few miles up the coast from San Clemente, and over the years has developed into a celebration of beach culture and action sports. It attracts the great and the good from the surfing industry, as well as the world's best board riders from the men's and women's tours. At the 2014 event, Felipe showcased his small wave wizardry in tricky, inconsistent surf. He defeated all comers to claim what was then the biggest win of his career.
When I won the US Open for the first time in 2014, it was a very important victory for me. I was coming back from injury and had been struggling to perform well. But I arrived at that event very focused, very determined, and I ended up winning it. That gave me a lot of confidence for future competitions.
The following year, Felipe came close to winning the world title. He finished the season 4th overall after claiming 3 tour victories, one of which came on home waters in Brazil.
Rio is definitely the event that I'll always remember, the best of my life. The beach was absolutely packed, and my whole family was there, more than 30 of them, as well as loads of my friends. I think there were more than 40,000 people that came down to the beach for the final. It was a feeling that I'll never forget.
The 2016 season proved less memorable. Toledo's title charge was derailed at the year's opening competition, where he sustained a groin injury that sidelined him for the following 2 events. As a result, Felipe intensified his focus on fitness. He worked with Rai Steinhoff at Foundation Fit, who developed a surf-specific program that concentrated on core training, strength over body weight, and endurance. Back at base, we discovered why the Toledos keep their cars parked on the driveway.
So here in the garage I've got quite a few boards. And one of my favourites for surfing smaller waves is this one. It's a 5'4" Sharp Eye, shaped by Marcio Zovi, a Brazilian guy who's lived here for over 30 years. This board's a lot of fun in small waves. There are two big fins either side and a smaller stabilising fin in the middle. So it's very small but perfectly formed. It's a Modern 2 model, one of the best of its kind, and you're pretty much guaranteed to have fun on it.
Family has always been central to the Toledo's way of life, and in October 2016, Felipe himself became a father. Tour commitments meant that Felipe was competing in Portugal when the baby was due, but an online video link allowed him to witness Ananda giving birth to their daughter Mahina before returning home to assume his fatherly duties.
Yeah, it's been amazing. It was pretty tiring at first, but everything you go through all becomes worthwhile when you see your baby smiling and when you see that they're happy. It spurs me on every time I'm out in the water competing, thinking about my daughter and my new family. I really want to give my best for them.
Between battling injury and becoming a father, Felipe faced some significant challenges away from competition in 2016. True to character, he embraced them all and still managed to finish the year ranked 10th on the championship tour. With surfing making its debut as an Olympic sport in Japan, Felipe and other competitors will have to participate in the Surfing World Games in September.
To have surfing at the 2020 Olympics in Tokyo will be something very special for our sport. And also for us as pro surfers. And of course for our sponsors. I can't imagine what it would feel like to actually be there and be competing for an Olympic gold medal. A unique experience for sure.
Long considered the best small wave rider in the world, Felipe has worked hard to develop the technical skills, physical fitness and mental strength to excel in all conditions. As a result, he's become a more rounded performer and has posted some solid results at the tour's bigger wave venues such as Fiji and Hawaii. With Tokyo 2020 on the horizon, he's currently enjoying a fruitful season, lying second on the leaderboard and challenging for the world title.
An athlete can be in perfect shape physically, surfing amazingly well, and have great boards. But if he's not in the right emotional state and not focused on what he needs to do, then everything falls apart and comes to nothing. So things will happen in their own time. And I think we're working towards that and going about it the right way. The title will come, and it will come when the time is right.
Ever since I was a kid, my father always told me, go and have fun, be happy, and enjoy what you're doing. And I still have that mindset. I don't worry too much about having to get good results. I always have fun when I'm surfing because I'm doing what I love. And so far, it's brought me some pretty good results.